Look at the bricks. I would love to hear Ed Piskor going through this page by page. Michelle Pfeiffer
No.
ripping on Jim Lee's X-Men.
As you can see here, man, this we were so much money when I'm 41.
I tell you, man.
Be like, you know what, Michelle? You probably got like a couple of $1 million.
No.
This is like what I grew up on. You guys, I got a signing bonus. Welcome all you Sheehanites to a brand new episode of Sheehan is Dead Comics. Thank you for tuning in. I am Sheehan What? There's Squelchy Sheehan as well. And got to let you know about organicpricebooks.com. At checkout, coupon code is Sheehan is Dead. Sheehan is Dead all together, no spaces. Save yourself about $2. $2 may not seem like a lot, but you actually accumulate points, especially once you make an account. It's very simple, very easy. And you get $1 for every point. You'll be racking up $5, $10, $20 coupons in no time. Again, organicpricebooks.com. Sheehan is Dead all together at checkout. Thank you to Organic Price Books. Fantastic site, fantastic service.
They have the best selection with the best
Yes.
prices. Are you up to date on Ahsoka?
I am. Yes.
You
yes.
saw
So
it,
yeah,
episode 6?
you are too? Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been meaning to mention that to you and see how you liking it. Episode 5 was awesome, and then episode 6 was excellent too.
Yeah, it definitely is. It should be interesting to see how. I suppose we shouldn't ruin it for people who haven't seen it, huh?
No, we don't want to ruin it. But I've watched all the Rebels. I've watched the Clone Wars and Rebels, and so this is like my brain is still adjusting to seeing the live action version of the characters from Rebels.
Okay. Uh-huh.
But it's just so cool because I'm like, right. Yeah.
I feel like after the very end of episode 6, that there's going to be something significant that Filoni's going to use in the plot in regards to the fact that Anakin was her master. I feel like that's going to be a plot device, because although they didn't call it out per se, just the way the language was between the two villains at the end, it's like important. I'm pretty sure it's going to be important.
Of her and Anakin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, he was her master in the Clone Wars.
Mm-hmm.
And then like they did that last, I don't know, did you check out the last season of Clone Wars that came out last year? Yeah, it's actually very well done, and the animation is updated. It's not as ugly or crude as like the first 3 seasons, so it's really good.
Yeah, I just haven't gotten around to it.
But yeah, it's an awesome cliffhanger too.
So I think this season's going to have 10 episodes, because I think they said the 5th one was halfway through. So we should have 4 more episodes. That should be interesting.
I heard on what was it? John Roca's YouTube channel. He has a big deal about Star Wars every episode. I think they said there were 2 left.
Yeah, I don't know though, because the editorial I was reading was that for the halfway point in the season, episode 5, they actually played in movie theaters, and you could.
I saw that.
Yeah, but they specifically called out that it was the midpoint of the season. So I was figuring that maybe.
I hope that I would certainly wish that it was. I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah,
that would be fantastic.
Because it doesn't seem like there's enough space at the end of 6 right now to do anything.
Yeah, to do it. Yeah, because otherwise it would be a huge cram. But Disney Star Wars has been guilty of that.
So we'll see. Hopefully
it's certainly the best show. It not only is it a well done show, but it's the best show, obviously, of the ones they've done, other than Andor. For me,
I was going to say I think Andor is still better, but this is good. Yeah. So yeah, if you haven't watched it, check that out.
Ahsoka.
It's worth the time.
Have you seen the lightsabers that they sell now?
Mm-mm.
Like a week ago or so, a friend came over with their kids, and their daughter had a lightsaber, and the handle's like a regular one. It's like this big, and it's heavy, but it's got like the plastic, and then you press the button and then it lights up. Like, and the one she got, of course, was like purple, Mace Windu. But it's like, and when you go like this, it's like whoom, 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 whoom.
I've seen them on YouTube. I haven't touched one in real life.
I was blown away, and I told them, I said, if I had this when I was a kid, I don't know. I said, because my best thing was shutting the light off and taking like a flashlight, and that was my lightsaber as a boy. So
I was never really fascinated with a lightsaber as a kid. I
Oh,
don't
I love
remember
them.
ever
Love them.
pretending that I had a lightsaber.
Oh, I loved it. Whoa, whoa.
I thought it was cool, but I just was like, I don't know.
Well, I remember I couldn't find any I never saw any Star Wars toys.
Mm.
Like when I growing up, I never had like a Luke Skywalker or Vader or even a Stormtrooper or anything. I just remember in the stores they didn't have it. Maybe it was a bygone era by that time. Whereas now you could find Star Wars toys.
Oh yeah, everywhere, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
maybe you were in the in-between zone where it was kind of like passe for a little while until the new stuff came out.
You guys, I didn't have the coupon that you mailed in, and a year or two later you got Luke and you got,
I
how does
think
he say
Leia.
Leia? No, how does he say it? Like
Oh, I don't
Layla
know.
or something. He messes up her name. No, Leah, Princess Leah. And I'm like, I cringe. Like of all the ones that I've told you, I cringe at when he says things. Like that's one of them. Like Leah. I'm like, oh, hurts. It's not Leah. It's Leia.
I
But I,
so wanted that Christmas when that came out, and my mother's like, "There's no way we're spending $22, which was a fairly sizable amount of money for a toy in 1977, to get a piece of paper that you're gonna have to wait another 4 or 5 months to actually get the toys, and the toys are really small anyway." And so she's like, "Nope, not happening."
those toys were like so ugly, but they look nothing like them. But the fact that they represented them, it
Yes.
was like whoa. Whereas now, like everything's almost like a carbon cutout, a toy. It looks just like what you see on the television.
Well, that's McFarlane's fault.
Yeah, fun, fun,
He ruined the toy industry. He made the toys too good.
fun.
Nothing's left to the imagination.
Nothing at all. Nothing at all. When I was a kid, I remember I had the RoboCop, and you would feed cap. It came with caps, and he had like a cap gun trigger on his back. So
Really?
you'd hold up his arm like that, and you'd like press the cap while you were playing with the toys, like he was shooting people. And the helmet came off, and I remember like staring at it too with his helmet off, and it looked like him in the movie, or at least to me it did.
Mhm.
And I was like, "Wow, this is so cool!" You know, and then put the helmet back on him. So neat. But
I had some of the little bit later after Star Wars. I had gotten some of the Battlestar Galactica. I think I had like a Viper and a couple of the action figures. But I remember being so disappointed because when I was a little kid, you were at the point where you could still get the toys that would have missiles, and the
oh,
missiles would shoot, so you could definitely take your eye out, and that was a lot of fun. And then when the Battlestar Galactica stuff came out, the Viper had like this. It was supposed to be the laser blast coming out of either the wings or the cone. I don't remember which. But all it would do is you'd push a button and it would just go like tick. It was embedded. It would just like pop forward about an eighth of an inch, and that was supposed to be your laser blast. And I remember thinking that's like so lame,
that's so cool.
so
I
lame.
I remember I had GI Joe toys, and they had this one where, and to see what I had in front of me on this cartoon, it looked just like what I had. It was so enthralling. And it was this thing, and it had these blue missiles, and the thing was orange, and it went on. I think it was like a big green truck. It
Mm,
clicked in, but
hmm.
you press the button, and it was like, choo, 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 and it would shoot them like about like a foot and a half out.
Yeah,
These missiles,
yeah.
so cool. And then you could like unhook it and like boom, 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 like that. It was really neat.
Transport, and then you could drive it separately.
Yeah, yeah,
The
yeah,
ideal
yeah. It was
thing.
so, and you put a guy or two in the front seat too. It's really neat.
Yeah. I
That's
always liked it when there was stuff that was like, and some of the Star Wars stuff was like that. I didn't really have any like they had a Millennium Falcon that was more or less scaled appropriately to put the action figures in. I remember that. I lusted after that. And
No,
but
I don't
that was like
remember that, but that
super
sounds
expensive
awesome.
because it
That
was it
sounds
was really
awesome.
big, I mean, I don't know how big it was. It was probably 2 feet, 2.5 feet across. So it was scaled to the size of the action figures, which are what, probably like that.
That's
So
awesome, dude.
it was cool.
That is so cool. That is so cool. Well, speaking of childhood stuff, I saw on CGC they have it was recently announced Michael Keaton and Michelle Pfeiffer are doing signings, and I Keaton's signature is 550 and Pfeiffer's is 450. And I was like, oh man, if I had an extra $1,000 laying around and I could have them sign
Yeah.
the magazines that you got me at the Comic Con at the Albany Con, because
Mhm.
now they grade magazines too. and
believe
like
it.
have them sign these and grade them. Oh my God, I would have lost my mind.
Does the 550 include for grading?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. That's kind of with the resurgence that Keaton has had in his career in the comic book area as of late. I kind of can see a little bit that price seems right, but Michelle Pfeiffer, no, I think that's a bit steep for her. I don't think she's worth 450.
Yeah, maybe if she wasn't in Ant-Man and the Wasp, it would have been like
Oh, I
450.
forgot that. I forgot that. That's why they're taking advantage of it. Still, that was a horrible movie. I think because of that movie, they ought to cut the price in half.
They should be like, you know what, Michelle, you probably got like a couple of $1 million. Movie wasn't that good. You should like give me 55% off on your signature there.
How much of it do you think the personality gets, and how much goes to CGC?
Oh, I would say the personality that probably gets like 3/4, 75%, if not 80%.
Still a good it's still probably a nice profitable thing for CGC.
So we, of course, all you Sheehanites, if you haven't checked it out already, check out the interview that I did with Judd Winnick.
Yeah.
And we did that deep dive of Under the Red Hood. So here's the deluxe edition. I read this whole story within like the past 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. Excellent. Really good. It was like a trip down memory lane, but then speaking with him and having him also talk about how Doug Mahnke's art is so expressive and he's excellent at capturing the body language and whatnot. I really read it with a more attentive eye and appreciative eye. Such
Now,
a great story.
was that released as singles over time, or was that like just trades? And
No,
then
it was released through the main Batman line
okay.
at the time.
Mhm.
And then it was like 3 soft covers, and then they made this deluxe that came out September 5th, the day that I spoke with him.
Mhm.
So I mean, like Jason Todd, the Red Hood, gets his quasi revenge. He's beating the Joker with a crowbar
Yeah.
on this page. Like that was way cool. But Doug Mahnke's art, it's really like I had said, it's really workmanlike, um, very expressive, really good stuff. I really enjoyed it. They do like a flashback here that they also did in the movie here, and then the modern. And then you see Jason Todd's outfit here. Seeing his outfit like in the Batcave was always a big thing to me as a kid.
Mhm.
And so I'm reading this now too. This is from 1991.
Oh, who's the cover artist there?
Oh man, who was it? I can't even make it out. See, it's like some kind of like, I don't know if you can see. It's like some kind of hieroglyphic. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
But I could tell reading the let me see, cover. Oh, there's a bunch of cover artists.
I know it's a bummer when they do that because it's
Yeah.
hard to figure out who's who.
But what's cool is on this, there's a sidekicking by the late great Denny O'Neil. He
Mm.
writes this. As you can see, the pages too are brown.
Mm.
You know.
Oh, is that one of the used ones that you bought?
Yeah. I bought it off of I think Amazon, I think. And so check it out. So this was huge. Like this was a thing that I would have geeked out and stared at, maybe even drawn, because I was so obsessed with like, how did Robin die? How is this, the pain of Batman? So see, like this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you showed me that picture. That's a cool picture.
Yeah, this picture was usually always in the background
Yeah.
of a Batman comic back in the 90s or even into the early 2000s. Like always in honor of Jason. It says in memory of Jason Todd, a good soldier.
Didn't we
So
see that? It wasn't it in the Batcave in the Flash too?
not for
Was it?
Jason Todd. No. But I'm reading this now too, and I read through the first part isn't that good. It's in there more to lay the foundation for Tim Drake.
Yeah.
Being Robin. And then see, even Tim is looking at it like he wants to measure up to Jason Todd. See,
Mm-hmm.
The art and coloring is like so. I don't know if you can see it here. Can you see his suit? Like the lines in it.
Vaguely.
It's like a grandpa.
It looks like it's
grandpa suit,
like a suede. Oh yeah, now you can see it.
right?
Not
It's
sway. What do
just
you
kind
call
of
it?
like,
Comic
man.
sense stuff.
And the art back then, this is the late great Norm Brayfogle, and this was everything. Norm Brayfogle, his Batman is really good. His especially his like shadowing, or like even this face when Batman's really upset.
Yeah. Well,
But
you know, it's
it's
funny
just,
you mentioned about the art, because I had, the last time we got together, I had called out that I'd gotten 80 years of the Joker, and I
yeah,
started looking at some of that, and I'll tell you what, I'm not a fan of Golden Age. I just can't deal with the art.
this art is so,
It wasn't until we got to Neil Adams that I really was like jiving with it. I literally like skipped the first third of the book.
yeah. Adams started, I think Adams was like in the mid to late 70s.
And it was a huge jump forward.
Huge,
Yeah.
huge. So this is from 1991, right?
Yep.
So the story is very generic. It's like Batman the animated series where the Joker has these random thugs, like he gasses everybody by his quote unquote mom brings in a Bible, but it's one of his henchmen, and like the gas comes out and like cripples all the law enforcement so he can make a getaway. And then
That's
Robin at
always
this
good.
time doesn't have a license, so Alfred is driving him around in a van, in this red van right
Very
here.
nice. There you go.
And look at how they used to do the headlight effect. It was like actual color.
It
Like
makes me it makes
purple.
me think of Scooby Doo.
Oh, most certainly. And so the light effect is so, back then it was cool, but now they do it with Photoshop and it looks like
Right.
realistic,
Right.
and it just took me back to a bygone era of just, wow, this is, I used to love this stuff and I thought the art was so cool. And now looking back on it, it's so almost
Quaint.
prehistoric. See,
Yeah,
like right there,
prehistoric, yes.
the light.
At least the figure work seems to be fairly consistent and proportional. That's
Yes,
one of the other things that's tough on some of the early stuff.
yes. He jumps on the Joker's car here, and he's with one of his henchmen. Actually, he's in a plow truck,
Mhm.
and the Joker's yelling like, "I killed you! I killed you!"
You know what I
because he
would
killed
love?
Robin.
I would love to hear Ed Piskor going through this page by page, because he's got a lot of good insight on like what was the artist thinking. This works. This doesn't work. He's
Yeah,
really entertaining.
as you can see here, man. I tell you, man. And then Jim Rugg is his
His
cohort.
cohort, yeah, but definitely he would definitely have a field day.
Yeah.
They
So
were
this is what
ripping
I
on
grew up
Jim
on.
Lee's X-Men,
This is like what I grew up on, like this kind of art.
right? And
You see Robin.
that was fairly state of the art.
Oh, at that time, yeah, Norm Brayfogle drawing this, and then this one is drawn. Actually, this page going forward is drawn by Tom Lyle. So Tom Lyle was a longtime Robin artist on Robin's
Okay. Yep.
solo
Yep.
book.
Yep.
So this is before Robin's solo book, I believe.
Yeah.
So, but it's just so quaint now,
Yeah. Absolutely.
you know.
But it's
So
good though. I mean, like I
yeah.
say, the physical stuff is good.
Mm-hmm.
It was interesting listening to McFarlane interview, and you know how Robbie likes to bust his chops because Robbie was talking about how he's like, look at the bricks, right? The whole thing about the bricks in the background. Well,
What?
Toddy actually admitted in this interview, he's like, when I started out, I couldn't do the other stuff. So I did that. And that's what I was hoping would help get me over. And so it's interesting that it went from like he did that with intent because he knew his body and his physicality stuff was not really up to par yet. So he could do the buildings. So he'd spend a lot of time doing that.
What?
Try to
What?
hopefully make, like, look over here, look over here.
Yeah. Wow, that's awesome. Please send me that interview.
I'll try to dig it up again. I don't think it was kayfabe, but I should be able to find it in my history.
Fun. Then so this is the Chip Zdarsky run. Failsafe.
Mm-hmm.
So premise is basically the Penguin fakes his own death, and Batman is caught at the Penguin's bedside when he dies, and so he gets blamed. Then Batman of Zurin R, which is it's like I don't know what, a bronze silver age machination.
Mm.
And basically he wears a whole different suit. I'll show it to you. Now, Grant Morrison referenced this in Batman. He had a whole storyline of Batman RIP. And
Okay.
so basically the Batman of Zurin R has a bat cave below the bat cave, and it's basically Bruce Wayne's subconscious built this robot in case Batman ever went too far and killed someone.
Mm.
So this is Batman of Zurin R. See the outfit? How
Mm-hmm.
wacky it is?
Mm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like red and
Mm-hmm.
yellow and black and purple. And
Kind
so
of like a dark flash, just a different kind of a
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And he builds this failsafe, which is like this Terminator. So at the end, spoilers, he zaps Batman with this gun. Batman wakes up in like this dystopian future.
Hmm.
And then this is the second volume. And
Okay.
so this is where I told you, again, spoilers. This is Batman's in this alternate reality. He gets his hand cut off. Mike Hawthorne drew this. They changed it up from Jorge Jimenez.
Mm-hmm.
And
Looks
it's
pretty
very
decent.
and he still draws on paper. Jorge Jimenez
Uh-huh.
does digital,
Okay.
like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But as you can see, this is like
It looks
more
decent.
like yeah. It's more, to me, it's more like a grounded Batman, almost like it's a step or two up from like the Robin art.
What year would that have been published initially?
This is recently. This is from the recent run within the past year.
It's interesting to me. I feel like a vibe from like certain artists from the second half of the 90s.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Post Image guys, you know, the crew that came up just after Image was kind of like not at their cutting edge anymore. I feel like it's got that kind of a style to it a bit.
Yes. And I feel like I can see the rusticness that he draws on paper, and then it gets inked and colored.
Mm-hmm.
And so like here, and this guy is the Red Mask, who's the Joker,
Mm-hmm.
but here he's not. And so then he's going through the multiverse. This is the multiversal story I was telling you about.
Okay.
It's just kind of like, why is Batman messing with the multiverse in his own story?
Yeah.
That's like a Justice League thing. And then, but what's cool though is that Robin's in it, Tim Drake. So I was really, you could tell Chip Zdarsky came up on stuff like what I just showed you, because he's a fan of Tim Drake. And so his Alfred is still alive in this multiverse, whereas in ours, Bane killed him during the Tom King run.
Mm-hmm. So have you read it?
The Tom King one?
Well, that whole book,
Well,
yeah.
this book, yeah, I finished. I finished
Did you
this
like
a few
it?
nights ago. Yeah, so see here, he's got like the fake hand.
Right.
See, with the things, the like batarangs sticking out of it.
Yeah, that's weird.
It's just so lame. then he gets like a robot hand, and from now on, he basically has this hand going forward, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
But he goes through the multiverse of like, check it out. This was really neat. So he goes here. This is like the like the bronze silver age.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got the animated series version.
Yeah.
And then here is the Arkham.
Yeah.
The Arkham version.
Yeah.
So he's going through like all these steps of the multiverse. And then here's him like in the Batman Beyond cartoon universe too.
Yeah.
And there's himself, old Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
So he's like meeting himself, which happened in the Justice League cartoon. And so then he meets the Frank Miller version from The Dark Knight Returns. Like he's in the mud pit with himself.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so the story wasn't bad, but it wasn't good either.
So it feels to me like there's a little bit too much busyness and a little bit too much reliance on that ploy of the multiverse thing.
Yeah. It should have been a Justice League story, because it's just too much. And then here, like, remember how I told you like the Batman with the Bat family? It's like it's just too much. Like they're all around eating and cooking and whatnot. It's like I get it, but that's not Batman. Like Batman isn't like that. Like Batman's a
solo guy.
yeah. He's it's
My
just
best Batman are just Batman.
yeah. It's just
To me, that's what
Batman.
I like.
And I mean, even Jason Todd was in that. And I told Judd in the interview, I said I feel like Jason Todd has been absorbed into the Bat family, and he just lost his coolness, and he lost. Whereas under the Red Hood, when you read the whole story, he's a powerful character. It's a
Right.
powerful story.
Right.
Whereas now he's just kind of like another throwaway
Sidekick.
sidekick. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just kind of like,
Yeah.
you know. So, and then here they do this like retroactive thing where he's building failsafe, the Batman of Zurin R.
Mm.
It just I wasn't feeling this.
Sure.
Wasn't feeling it.
Sure.
And then this one was the one I referenced with you and Jess, Ram V's Batman Detective Run. This is my Batman, right?
Mhm.
So
More emphasis on the detective stuff.
yeah, detective,
Yeah.
like hard boiled, like I'm gonna put my foot in your behind and you're gonna tell me what I want to know, or I'm gonna put my other foot up your behind. um just like the art is just real moody and just Batman,
Yeah. Right.
like it's just
Yep.
moody,
Right. Yep. Yeah. I prefer Batman to be like that.
Yeah, he's not like Mr. Hooty Hoo, Hardy Har, Now this is you're gonna hate this, right? I know how much the artwork, like really, you're extra sensitive. Check out how scratchy and ugly this is. This is a different artist.
Yeah, I don't really care for that too much. I don't, it's the art leaves a little bit to be desired, but I think
Leaves a lot to be
the
desired.
coloring it makes it even worse.
Well, that's the backup story to this. So they put the main story in with the backup story. So this is the one I told you about where Batman's on the edge of the building and he drops the guy off. See the guy's face, he's
Yeah.
terrified.
Yeah.
And so he says, and up here, see him jump off and he's like grimacing. This is what he says. And this is Ram V's awesome writing. He says, "These past nights, I have stalked Gotham shadows like a fog of fear over its quieted streets. The dread reminder that the specter that haunts their skies may choose to descend upon them at any moment. Like the old days, I have asked questions under the threat of pain beyond imagination." Right.
Very
So then
nice.
that's him throwing that guy off the roof like that.
Yeah.
And that's Batman. Like he says, like the old days, I have asked questions under the threat of pain beyond imagination. And they show him kicking more butt and like going through the streets looking for answers. Right.
It's kind of similar to me, at least a little bit, to the vibe that you get from the opening monologue in the Batman film.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Excellent. Yes. Well said. There you go. Yes. Very much. And there's like this secret society. There's kind of like a little bit of like spooky undertone of like some power from Gotham. Like this guy's face is glowing from it. There's like, it's this whole new thing. The only thing that I recognize is it's connected with the Al Ghuls. So like Talia Al Ghul makes an appearance in this, and him and her go at it. But really good stuff. I really, really like this by Ram V.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, just look at it. Just look at like
the
the art is
perspective.
just and it's just like moody. It's just kind of like that's Gotham, like dark and dirty and gritty.
Right.
He's
The
just sitting
sun
there-
never shines.
Right. And it's him and the Bat family aren't, making cookies with each other. And he doesn't have a Darth Vader hand either. So it's just really good stuff. I really enjoyed this. Again, and what an evocative cover too, huh? Like
Yeah.
So, Ram V, Raphael Albuquerque, Dave Stewart, Simon Spurrier, and Donnie, Dani. So I really like this one.
Coolness.
And then lastly, I got the Batman 4K from Mask of the Phantasm.
Oh, we've watched that, haven't we? That seems familiar to me. I wouldn't know anything about that if I hadn't seen it.
the Mask of the Phantasm is on my Voodoo account. So if you check that out,
I think maybe
so
you
that
you asked me to watch it early on, like a
yes,
year ago.
yes, I'm sure
Yeah.
I did. Yes.
Yeah.
But check it out. So
On
that was a
4K.
big deal. Probably about like, I don't know, 3 years ago, it came out on Blu-ray. And it was
Mhm.
like, oh my God, it's on Blu-ray. This is going to be amazing. Because it was only on regular DVD for years.
Right.
And then this just came out earlier this month.
Mhm.
And it's like, wow, they made Mask of the Phantasm in 4K after they did Blu-ray. I just couldn't, I like triple dipped because I have like all three versions. And
Mhm.
this is just amazing. The
That's like
color.
that's like your version of cable number one.
Yes, I would buy 51 of these or 52 just to outdo your cableness. This is so awesome. The coloring in here is fantastic, and there's actually a very good special feature. I really liked it. It's called Kevin Conroy, I Am the Night. So it's they take clips of an interview with Kevin from many years ago when he was, I think, back in like the early 2000s ish. And then they have modern interviews with like the creators mixed in, the like of the cartoon, like Paul Dini and I think Bruce Timm, Andrea Romano, and they
So is that was
basically,
that a whole new like special that was
yes,
in the previous releases?
right, right.
Cool.
So it's this, obviously because Kevin died, I don't know, almost a year ago now, if not
Yeah.
about a year ago.
It was right around the time that we interviewed Drea, I believe.
Oh, yes, yeah, because we talked about that. Yeah, that was
Right.
in February. So he must have died, I think, probably in like December or January.
Right.
So
Okay.
um it's
Cool.
really good. It's very well done, really good. Uh but again, seeing the movie in 4K is just great. It's awesome.
Hmm.
And then lastly, I haven't watched this yet, but I've heard when I saw it in IMAX with some friends, it was awesome. And then I heard the 4K is it's not an upscale, it's like real 4K.
Hmm.
Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Oh, okay. Well, that was
Yeah,
produced recently. I mean, that was the theatrical release, right?
right,
So
right.
they would have
So
the would have been created in 4K from the get.
mhm.
Cool.
So I'm jazzed to watch this again. I got to put it on. So
I have yet to see it.
it's really good. If you've seen Into the Spider-Verse, that was a lot of fun. This is even better.
Hmm.
And it's got more of a serious tone, especially as the movie goes on, than Into the Spider-Verse. Very good.
Hmm.
So that, as Omar would say, that, as they say, is that.
Lots of good things there.
Ooh. You know,
We want to call out Darth Pillow, the
yeah,
the
the Darth Pillow.
the Darth Pillow, who he's been doing our video editing for us now for a little bit. So we appreciate that. He's got a channel on Twitch. Am I right, Brian? It's Twitch, right?
Yes, Twitch. I believe it is Twitch. Yeah, that's the gaming stuff.
Yeah. So search out Darth Pillow on Twitch.
Arthpillow.
W.
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 Thank you.
So are you unloaded there? Is that what you
I am
had in your pile?
unloaded. My clip is empty.
I'm going to start with a little bit of something different. I haven't made a book recommendation in quite a while.
Oh
Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I read this. My wife got me a subscription to a magazine that comes out bi-monthly, and it's recommendations and telling you about the latest literary things that are happening when the releases. So I read about this and it intrigued me. So I decided, one of the rare times that I buy a new book, I decided to get it, and I really enjoyed it. I would say it's fantasy. I don't know if it's necessarily considered to be like YPA. I could kind of see where in some bookstores it might end up on that shelf, but at the same time I feel like it's a little bit more sophisticated than that. So but it's an interesting premise. I won't get into it any further, but if you like a good tight read and an interesting backstory and kind of interesting characters and fantasy, this was like, I finished this in a couple of days, even when I, in between work, I just couldn't put it down.
I
Really,
like that it says I devoured this. That's
yeah,
awesome.
right. And that author is like a horror author too, so it's kind of a funny irony. I picked this up yesterday at our local uh, comic shop, LCS, as some of them say. And it's kind of a dumb name. I don't know why they came up, but what it is it's actually, as it says, the ElfQuest Companion. So back in the 70s, the Peonies, Richard and Wendy, had created this magazine with warp graphics called ElfQuest. And apparently had got quite a following at the time. So what this is 1982. I feel like maybe the ElfQuest books had been out for 3 or 4 years prior to this, or enough time, maybe even longer. Maybe it was even back to 77, enough time to get a back following. And so a lot of this work is fan club collected stuff, including artwork. And it talks about the first, like, what year was it? The first, they had a like really low key original, like folky towny con, the first time that they had done that. And it gives an interview and talks about whoever the dude was that was showing up to be like the special guest star. But it's just interesting. It's just something different. I think this was the only issue that ever got published, because when I was online trying to research it, I didn't really find any others. So Yearnings, Warp Graphics, 1982, and all fan content, poetry, puzzles, articles, stories, and art. It's kind of interesting. Get a kick out of that. Would you want to take a wild guess as to who maybe did this?
Oh,
Yeah. Let's see if I can help. Whoops.
all right. That doesn't look like it. Almost, it looks
Like,
nicer than what Rob normally did.
yeah, no, this is someone else.
Is it Wills?
It's other. Yeah, I could see that. You know who it actually is? It's Liam Sharp.
Oh, I would not have guessed that.
Yeah, I mean it's probably hard to see, but I think that's gorgeous. And the whole thing is really well done, and it just pops. But yeah, it's Liam Sharp. Really interesting stuff. And the glossy paper
Mm.
too.
Professor X looks cool.
He does. And I like the coloring is better than average
Yes.
too. So that was nice. Thought that was fun. I got that just he must have gotten in a collection of someone had a lot of X-Men Unlimited. I picked up quite a few. We're probably going to go deep on gimmicks.
Gimme, gimme, gimmick.
This is a current thing. This was, I think, maybe as recent as 2017. So you've
That's
got
cool.
Fantastic Four #1, and then the comic itself is Monsters Unleashed #7, I believe it is.
Wow.
The inside work isn't that great, but the lenticular cover is what. And there's a whole bunch of them. They did this. They had it for Fantastic Four #1. They had it for the first Spider-Man where the black uniform
Oh,
is
yeah,
introduced. There was, and I forget what it segued into. And they had one for Cap. They had one for Avengers. Here's another, like a chromium. This is 1995.
Oh man, yeah.
X-Men Prime. It was like a one-off story.
Speaking of Prime, that was like the prime gimmick age.
Yeah.
Look at how beautiful that is. Oh, that's gorgeous.
Then Rogue looks awesome.
Dude, that's so cool.
Internally, there's again just a load of pencilers. You had Hitch. Uh-oh. Looks like I got to change the battery on my camera. You might bear with me a second. But there's like eight different artists inside, and I don't see any signatures on the outside. So I don't know who did it. And it could even be, would they do a mashup? Would they use multiple artists on the same image at times?
On the image, like the cover.
Well, I mean, like could this have been drawn by like 7 different people? Did they ever do that? Or usually it was only one?
Usually it was only one. The only time I've known of different pencilers, at least in the book, is if somebody was getting behind, where all of a sudden like 2 or 3 pages would say, it would say in the credits at the beginning, like Brian Hitch pages 1 through 10, Jim
And
Lee
they would do
pages
that.
1 through 13. Yeah.
That's what makes me think of that funny story that we we got
That
Dan
Dan
DeDeo.
told, yeah.
Yeah, with Jim Lee.
Oh, Jim didn't know what I had. What I was doing was I had another artist drawing
From the
pages
back.
from the back.
From the back forward, and he's doing it from the front back. I had to get this one because it was a Liefeld. So this was 75, issue number 75, cable anniversary. The interior work is not Liefeld, but I thought the cover was fun. And it's like,
hey, at least he got the right arm bionic, in the cover.
hopefully it's consistent throughout. I
Mhm.
forgot about that.
Yeah.
I ended up picking up the other 3 issues of Rogue. So apparently Rogue was a 4-part miniseries, and I had one, and then there was 2, 3, and 4, and I got those. And of those, I just thought this was a great Rogue,
That's cool.
and it was fun too because you got some light. Can't really capture it, but it's foil around her
No,
name.
I can see it. I can see
And
it.
yeah. So that was fun. One volume
Oh
2
boy,
issue of the Micronauts.
the Micronauts.
So slowly still working on that. That's not quite as good as like a Michael Golden, but it's channeling that a little bit. And then I didn't have this one. Again, the hologram, Nightcrawler hologram. And even gatefold. Is it gatefold? No, I guess it's not gatefold, but it's that heavy stock. And it's just like boom.
Those were just
Those are fun. And then just a couple more here. This was another again
man.
foil. So this is what's cool about this too is it's Valentino.
Oh yeah.
So it's a Valentino. No, it's not a wraparound. I thought it was a wrap, but it's still fun.
That's so cool, dude.
Is the inside? Who's on the inside? Let's see. The inside is also Valentino.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of a cool splash, right?
Yeah.
That looks like that makes me call to mind Kirby. But of course, if you've got Galactus at Silver Surfer, you got to kind of think Kirby.
So that Captain America to the left.
What's the deal with that?
Yeah, I don't know, but that would certainly something that they would do in the 90s. And see how he's got the Rambo bandana.
I know. I was just looking at the hair and the Rambo bandage. It's pretty.
Yeah.
The cover, I think, is the best part.
Oh, it's so cool. It's beautiful.
Then there was another X-Men one-off from the same year as the last one. So we had X-Men.
Oh, dude, that's so cool.
And this is X-Men Omega. And again, the wrap around with the chromium. I can't tell by the initials who it is, but it's definitely this.
That was gorgeous.
Magneto. It's just like he's all messed up.
Yeah.
He's an angry Magneto.
That's so cool, man.
This was the Deadpool I was telling you about. So my first only and ever Deadpool that
you guys
Liefeld. So is that Lady Deadpool?
Yeah. So it looks like.
And then, of course, the main character. He didn't do the interiors. It's just the cover.
Deadpool corpse.
Yeah.
He's a pirate.
He's a pirate, all right. And then the last thing I have here, the most specialist thing.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Special edition X-Men #1, signed by Stan Lee with a certificate of authenticity and numbered. So
that's so cool.
I got that online. I almost wasn't going to do it. And I'm like, it just seems like a cool thing. Granted, there's a million of these X-Men, but the fact that
how many is signed by Stan the Man Lee?
Yeah,
it's so cool. I see back then the gimmick covers were like, oh my god, it's gonna be worth so much money when I'm 41. But now it's just kind of like I want them to do gimmick covers again just for the gimmick, the fun of it, as opposed to like it'll be worth anything. So
well, apparently, I mean, they are doing some here and there. It's not like everything, but that Fantastic Four that I showed you, that's within the last 5 years, and apparently they did like 28 of them.
I saw one that I think is fairly recent. Michael Yanin did a Superman cover, and it's plastic, and on the front, it's Clark Kent with his shirt open, but then you turn the page and him as Superman.
Yeah,
So it's him like opening his shirt and you see the Superman, you turn the page and it's Superman.
that sounds cool.
Even at that tender age, if you had it said, do you want to look at the cover of the Sports Illustrated swimsuit or the cover of this Excalibur with the holographic, I would have chose the holographic.
Well, you would have chosen correctly.
Oh, most certainly. You guys, I got a signing bonus. Jim Lee and I, just like we were sports stars. And I looked at Jim when we signed the contracts and I said, can you believe this?
And Jim said, I think they think that we're going to sell 1 million copies.
Yeah. I still brought Avengers up. Or no, Captain America.
It's to this day, it's still the best selling Avengers. Which ones are you going to subscribe to? Subscribe to all 4 and save.
I wonder if they do that anymore. Or
those of you listening, if you know the answer to that, tell us in the comments.
Yeah, please, because I'm curious. Because I remember cutting out, when I told you I subscribed to Batman, I remember cutting it out of, I think, a comic and then like checking it off and putting in like a money order or something.
Yeah. I guess he's got a lot of more back stock. I mean, like I've said, he's got 3 you got the boxes on the top of the tables, 2 boxes deep underneath everywhere. So he's going to bring all that stuff out so it's easily accessible. I mean, you could dig through it now. He doesn't mind, but most people probably don't. So
yeah, that's another thing. Sheehan, Scott and I are going to be in New York Comic Con. We're going to be there Thursday, the 12th.
Maybe if we're fortunate, we can get Liefeld to stand on his chair.
Yeah, and say, you guys, you can bring me flowers.
People who write Superman don't lie.
No, they don't. It's part of the truth and justice and a better tomorrow.
Yes. We'll leave it there.
We'll leave it there.
Go back. If you want to know the answer, if you still don't know the answer, go back through the past videos and you'll find the answer buried in amongst the archive.
Yes, you will. You definitely will. You'll have to pay good attention though. It's not just going to happen. You're going to have to watch.
You got to do your work.
And most recently, Judd Winnick. We had the lovely and super smart Dre Letamendi. We've had Philip Kennedy Johnson. We've had Brad Anderson, Sean O'Connell, and
Dan
lots of
DiDio
silly stuff. Dan DiDio. We had Dan DiDio on. And Dan DiDio gave really good anecdotes. He really dropped some gems. And it was like, wow, that was cool. I didn't know that. So that was a lot of fun.
It was good. And we've had a lot of fun with OmniDog several times.
Yeah, OmniDog. Yep.
And Omar
and OmniDog. Check them out. Please give us a like. And if you like what we're doing, subscribe. Please like this video as well. We really appreciate it.
Continue to try to figure out who Sheehan actually is.
Yes. Is he squelchy? Is he what?
I'm not Sheehan.
What is a Sheehan? You could be squelchy and classy all at the same time.